Cheers to 2 years! 2 years of full-time travel.
That seems like an eternity. Hey.
I honestly have no idea where I thought we would be 2 years ago.
And it's both felt like 2 years and 2 days at the exact same time. Just like how quickly it flew by, but still how many things we managed to do in those 2 years.
What a whirlwind it has been. Like, we started off in Mexico.
Trialing it out, you know?
Yeah, but also like we still didn't know if the world was gonna shut back down and we were gonna have to fly straight home. So we didn't want to get too far away and spend too much money on a flight. Swim with whale sharks in Cancun. We experienced Dia de Muertos in Mexico City. We won a contest to live rent-free in the United States for a year and celebrated cherry blossom season in DC. Went on a cruise in Miami. Celebrated 4th of July in Boston. Christmas and Thanksgiving in New York City.
That is like what dreams are made of. Went to like the biggest, most insane wedding in India.
Found an absolutely incredible community in Bali. The Batu Caves and everything in Malaysia. Like, it has been a crazy 2 years. Not to mention spending time traveling with family.
Sometimes I just feel like, you know, we gotta pinch ourselves to like realize that this really happened and this is really what we're doing.
And it's kind of funny celebrating 2 years of full-time travel while home in the US, but it actually makes such sense because part of the reason why we started doing this is the flexibility of our lifestyles. And truly, we have seen our family more since we started traveling full-time than we did when we were living in the same country as them.
When you're put in these sorts of situations, you have the opportunity to be more intentional.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this off now.
So to celebrate our 2-year anniversary, we asked you to submit any questions you may have for us. So let's get started.
The very first question was kind of what we were just talking about. It is, why did you guys decide to travel full-time? There's so many facets. A few years ago, everybody's world was rocked. Everybody's life was put into a different perspective, and everybody realized that like things can change in a moment. I was working in the entertainment industry in Los Angeles. Ivan was working as a software engineer. And during this time, I started to think about what are things I love about what I'm doing, what are things I don't love about what I'm doing. What I was really passionate about was the travel that I was getting to do with the reality TV shows I was working on and creating content that makes people feel connected to one another. In recent years, it feels like the media and social media are just pulling people apart and trying to make everybody feel so divided and separated. And to me, travel is one of the biggest ways to experience people in the world and see that we are not that different. People in Europe grew up watching Mary-Kate and Ashley. People in Bali know about SpongeBob and love it. We're eating chicken wings in Malaysia, we're eating chicken wings in the US.
There's more that brings us together than there is that takes us apart. But it's just we focus on the wrong end of the equation.
I was just very passionate about creating a community that brought people together, and for my own sanity, just experiencing the world and experiencing the fact that we are all so similar.
And having fun along the way.
And having so
Can't
much
forget
fun
that.
along the way.
And for me, I mean, anyone who knows me in my social circles, my professional circles, would never in a million years have guessed that Ivan, was gonna do this sort of thing. And I think that's what kind of made it beautiful. Nothing in life is constant. Nothing in life stays unchanged. In every season of life, you can be a different person, you can challenge yourself, you can explore new things that you never thought you were capable of. That's why this feels like a never-ending journey. Sometimes the universe hands you exactly what you are looking for in that moment. For me, it was the offensively titled book, 4-Hour Workweek. Get that book. It will change your life. And I say offensively titled because for me, I always have considered myself kind of ambitious and overachiever, like someone who has a very clear-cut purpose in life and knows exactly what he wants to do, where he's headed. He has a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 20-year plan, a 50-year plan. That book kind of forced into perspective like why we're really doing what we're doing, brought into consideration what it is we are trying to do in this world. Instead of asking like, what is the meaning of life? The question we should be asking is, how are you experiencing life, right? What are you doing, right? What are your mad ventures? And life is just a collection of those adventures. And as long as you can feel good about, you wake up in the morning, you make your cup of coffee, you think about the things you're gonna do for the rest of the day, and as long as you're happy with that list of things to do, you're living the best life in that season. So next question, what are our thoughts on international travel and what it means to be a traveler and not a tourist? Interestingly enough, For Our Work Week has some really thoughtful points on exactly this. It introduces the concept of like binge travel. You barely get your bags into your hotel and you're off to the races and realize, I need a vacation from this vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like the term slow matting. It's a way of spending a longer amount of time in a certain place, really immersing yourself in the culture, trying every single bagel shop in New York City to find your favorite, and then going back for the rest of the month.
Following locals. Like, if there's a big line of people that look like they know what they're doing, getting in that line when you don't even know why you're in it. Going to the grocery store or the markets where the locals shop and trying the things that look interesting. And meeting people from all over the world not only makes the world feel so much smaller, but also makes you just feel so connected. There's so much to be said about making a friend that has a different perspective than you.
In Bali, Indonesia, Nyepi, their local New Year's, is a day of silence, is a day of nothingness, is a day of meditation. The lights are cut off, the streets are empty. If you accidentally found yourself in Bali during Nyepi and you were binge traveling, that would be a day of your short vacation that you lost, right? But to us, that was an amazing experience. Whenever I'm stressing out, my mind just automatically goes to Nyepi and the feeling I had then. When you have that chance to slow down, you kind of get to absorb more of it, right? And that experience has just been really enriching for us, and that's what differentiates for us touristing and traveling.
Yeah.
Rapid fire round. What is the favorite place you've been? 1, 2, 3. Mexico City. Japan. In a way, that's what kind of started the wanderlust, I think, and it didn't hurt that it was our honeymoon.
Experiencing city life in Tokyo, nature in Nara, and eating so many local foods. Like, yeah, it definitely got us started on the path that we're on now.
And Mexico City, I mean, it has everything you want, expansive parks and castles, but it also has skyscrapers and street food, but also like famous chefs that you see on Chef's Table.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Favorite food. 1, 2, 3.
Otoro.
Oh, okay. Hey, both in Mexico City, though. Speaking of, Puyol is one of the top restaurants in the entire world. I will never forget that churro. I will never forget that mole. Life-changingly delicious food. And the price that you're paying in Mexico City versus the price that you would pay for one of the top restaurants in the world in the US is very nice.
Bite for bite. If you're just thinking about the senses that are going on in your mouth while you're eating it, nothing beats a beautiful piece of fatty tuna.
That was at Nobu, an international chain. But in Mexico City, the prices were a lot better. I do dream of that Otoro. So delicious. And one question we get asked literally all the time is how we eat so much and don't gain weight. And the answer is really quite simple. We don't usually eat that much. We share plates all the time. We take leftovers.
And we walk. We walk a lot.
Yeah, that's a really great way to experience a place too. If you have the extra time to walk somewhere, you're really getting to see neighborhoods, getting to see how locals are living, where they're eating.
So the next question we got asked, where have you met the friendliest people?
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Bali.
Hey!
Yeah. For me, it's all in the smile. I think we as a people just need to smile more. Nothing will make you happier than looking at someone else smiling.
Favorite experience?
Dia de Muertos.
Oh. Yeah, if I knew it would be the same. Dia de Muertos was so incredible and special, and it coincided with us having just lost my grandmother, which made it just even more meaningful. Occasion to remember to celebrate your loved ones, and the people at the Mixquic Cemetery that we went to were so kind and gracious in letting outsiders just walk around and be a part of it as well.
At least for me, I went into it as something I wanted to see, and instead it became something I felt.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So this next question is more for you as our planner. So how do you decide where you're going next and how long you're going to be there?
The short answer to all of this is visa availability and length of visas, cost of flights and cost of living wherever we're heading, and anchors for like, oh, we need to be here at a certain time, here at a certain time, and safety, of course. So for visas and for safety, we use the State Department website. We'll link all of our resources in the description below, so we can look at a map of the entire world and see at what level of safe the US thinks it is for the American people to travel there, which is just super easy. It keeps you from having to do too much research. Also, that same website gives you information on visas, how much it costs, whether you need to apply in advance or you get a visa on arrival, how long you can stay. All of that good stuff is right there, ready to go, packaged up for you. So we mentioned anchors, and by anchors we mean places we need to be and activities we need to do. So we are going on a safari in around a month, spoiler alert. So looking at those flights from Houston to Nairobi, the cheapest one always had a layover in Istanbul. And Ivan realized that we can book a 2-part flight with essentially a free month-long layover in Istanbul. And you can do that on Google Flights, where you can switch between one-way, round-trip, multi-step. Sometimes when you do that, you will find something so sweet and magical like this, where you are essentially getting a free flight to Turkey for a month.
So put it all together, right? I think you start with the anchors. You start with setting a dream. This is what I want to do. And then everything builds around that. And those anchors can take different forms. They can be a friend's wedding at a destination, a local event that's happening like Dia de Muertos at a specific time of year in a specific place. Instead of saying, I want to go to Mexico, you're saying, I want to go to this specific event at this specific place. And then it starts to be a little more concrete of an idea and build from there. And as you're trying to figure out what to fill in the gaps with, you look at prices, you factor in safety, you look at
visa availability.
You look at visa availability and you slowly fill in those gaps. And for us, it's really helped with kind of the analysis by paralysis. Start with those anchors, fill in the gaps, and build yourself kind of this mad venture incrementally.
Yeah. And it does, a lot of people kind of ask us how we afford to do this. And the thing is, we are spending a lot less money than we did when we lived in Los Angeles and getting to travel the world. In our villa in Bali, we were paying less than a third of what we paid for rent in LA, and that included electricity, internet, and room service breakfast. It was amazing. I mean, we would get food delivered to us for lunch, and for both of us, the food, the delivery, and the tip usually cost less than $5 total.
When you add freedom to the equation and flexibility to the equation, your money can stretch really, really far.
A lot of you guys had questions about how we pack efficiently, what are our must-have items, and honestly, some of the things we prioritize are sort of weird and crazy. Like, we travel with a coffee maker. We have the AeroPress, which is the small compact coffee maker. You don't have to plug it in. It's great for camping.
It still makes a quality cup of coffee.
It makes such a delicious cup of coffee.
I travel with a massive 3-monitor work setup because that's what's important to me.
A Google Home device, because like, it really makes everywhere you're staying feel more like a home.
May not fit into the cookie cutter definition of minimalism, right? None of those things are necessary. But minimalism to us is not about depriving yourself of the things that bring you joy. It's just removing priority or removing clutter from the things that don't matter as much to you.
But I also put a lot of thought into how to maximize certain items too. This shirt is going to protect us from the sun. It's gonna protect us from bugs. It's gonna be perfect to put over ourselves when we're going to temples. This dress is a dress, it is a swimsuit cover-up, and it is a nightgown. When you open it up, this is a jacket. When you put it all together, it's a nice travel pillow. Yeah. Being able to consider an item and consider all of the purposes of an item, which is really a useful thing to begin with.
And if you kind of make a game of it, you can have so much fun. Finding things that can serve double purposes is kind of the name of the game here.
There are some things for travel that we do like to have, like this very nice fancy neck pillow that my parents bought Ivan on Amazon. Ivan is somebody that sleeps forward. He'll do the forward sleep. And this is just really nice because it's on a 12-hour flight. If he's sleeping like that, he's not gonna have a sore neck, which is amazing. This eye mask, because it has gel here and keeps me cooler. I know they say they're for migraine and headache. But really, they are just these cooling patches. Sometimes they're so hot and stuffy when you get on a plane, and just taking one of these suckers and just sticking it on your forehead, as absolutely dorky and ridiculous as this looks, is life-changing. And for 12 hours on a plane, like, that's what you need. It doesn't matter how you look, it matters how you feel.
But we're just scratching the surface. If you want us to go into a much deeper dive into exactly the items we're putting in our bags, but just leave us a comment, let us know if that's something of interest to you, and we'll try to make that for you.
Absolutely. You guys also just asked for general travel advice. And honestly, my biggest advice is just do it. Even just finding those adventures in your backyard, finding those things that are driving distance from where you live, and knowing that, like, you can always come home.
Figure it out along the way as well, right? Like, we're throwing all these tips and tricks at you, but we didn't figure this out overnight.
Also, my other advice is just to slow down. Even if you're just on a quick trip, like, it is very easy to have a detailed itinerary and feel so overwhelmed when something takes longer than it's supposed to and something goes wrong. Going somewhere with bullet points rather than a time-for-time itinerary, and if you don't get to all of the bullet points, it's okay because you slowed down and enjoyed the journey of where you were. I think that is one of my most important pieces of travel advice that I can give you. So you guys also asked us what are some places that we would like to go, and that list is constantly growing, changing, and evolving. The more we meet people, the more the list grows because somebody says, skiing is amazing in Japan, you have to go there. Obviously, towards the top of our list now. You need to experience this holiday here. You need to experience this here. Like, it's just constantly growing.
We got Vietnam, Korea, Argentina, going back to Japan, of course.
In Bali, I also realized how much I value community. And so also places like going to Portugal because one of my best friends from growing up lives in Portugal.
But if you have any other additions to our list, please let us know, leave a comment.
Woo! And while we're celebrating 2 years of full-time travel, our last question is where do we see ourselves in another 2 years? Honestly, if there's anything that this journey has taught us is that you really just don't know. Like, things are constantly evolving and changing. When we won the contest to live rent-free in the United States for a year, our plan before that was to live internationally for that entire year. So things are always evolving. New opportunities are always coming your way. If we had traveled to and visited and spent some serious time in all 7 continents, I would absolutely love that. I would love for this community to have continued to grow and for us to just be sharing with more and more people how connected the world truly is, how much we have to learn from each other's differences. Love for you to be on this journey with us in 2 years, and so subscribe.
You know, we talk about all the fun stuff, but the truth is there's plenty of kind of like self-doubt or kind of existential crises that come into our hearts doing something that's kind of different than the norm. And I just hope in 2 years I'm able to quash those kinds of thoughts a little more. Honestly, just to be able to wake up every day and be like, yes, what I'm about to do after this delicious cup of coffee is exactly what I need to be doing today. I would also love to go to every single continent. I think that's just this nice checkbox. But with that checkbox, there's so much underneath the scenes that like isn't really about a destination or a location. It's just about, you know, but us.
But also us. And with that, we are just so thankful for you guys for being along with us for this journey. 2 years! This is so crazy. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for helping us connect the world in the small ways that we can. We love you guys. We super appreciate you being along for this wild, weird journey with us.
To another amazing 2 years.
See you in Turkey.